Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Back in the garage, trying to get more stuff done on the Ranger. In the last one, I said that I ordered some more stuff, and this is what I was talking about. So I ordered, I think 50 or 100 more trick tabs, like that. And then I got some new step bits because the one I have now is completely toast and it doesn't really, I don't know, probably turned it up on the fastest setting and drilled through some stainless and it kind of ruined it. But I'm not really sure what I'm gonna choose to do today, but I might spend a little bit of time kind of cleaning up because it's pretty messy. And I think that if it was cleaner in here, it'd make me want to get more work done out here. It's a little bit early in the morning, so I don't want to be grinding a whole lot, but I would like to finish up with this. It's been sitting like that forever, so I could finish that up, maybe hit it with some primer or something, so it doesn't rust. I would like to continue working on the shock mount. I'm having a little bit of a hard time remembering right now the process I used to get this location, but I think if I sat here for a little while and remembered. Okay, so I cleaned up a little bit. I'm just trying to think fast so I don't waste time, but I'm gonna set the bypass right in here, and then I'm gonna get a rough estimate of like what kind of shape I need for the piece of metal I'm gonna weld onto this one. And then once I get that general idea, I'll cut it out of cardboard. Then I'll go ahead and drill out the hole, and then I could weld it on here. When I'm welding, I'll probably use something that's so that it's a right angle, similar to what I did on the other piece. And then it'll be pretty flat. So yeah, that's the plan for right now, and I'll update you along the way. Okay guys, so this is what I ended up making. I'm glad that the production process sort of sped up a little bit, because I got those new step drill bits. So I was able to just get the center punch in, drill the pilot hole, and then this took me all the way up to about 1/2 inch. And then I kind of finished it off and whittled the hole out to make it easier for the bolt to go through. This is coming along pretty good. I'm just glad that I'm having a somewhat smooth time today. I didn't want to have to hassle around with doing all this stuff too much, so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and tack weld that on, cycle everything maybe a little bit, just make sure everything swings how it should. Another thing I'm trying to consider is the spacing between here and this side so that it's perfectly centered. And if I were to get that measurement, it's pretty much spot on, which is not the case for this one. This one's slightly, let me get this one. This one's not completely centered. If I zero it out, I have to turn it on first. Of course, my caliper died right now, but so I just tack welded that on, and now it's holding itself. It's completely flat on there, and yeah, let's see some of the measurements because I don't think I've showed you. Okay. So we could see that when I put the straight edge against the bypass tube and I line it up with this string, it's perfectly at a 90-degree angle, or at least, you know, within reason. I'm not gonna use like a micrometer to dial it in that close, but it's pretty good for just eyeballing it and using just templates and stuff and trial and error. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this shock out. These things are pretty heavy, so it's a little bit hard sometimes to get it out of the bolt hole. Sometimes you need something to kind of hammer on it a little bit, like a screwdriver and a hammer. Usually works pretty good. It's a little bit tight because of these tubes down here. Feel the bolt with my hand and give it a little smack. Don't want to shoot it all the way out. So now the bolt's pretty much out. Just need to take the weight off of it. Okay. Not sure how heavy this thing is, but it feels like a solid 30 pounds. Alright. Now when I'm welding, I want to make sure that this doesn't move, because it's kind of, there's a gap here and it'll pull it downwards from the heat. So I'm gonna have to take that into consideration. What I'm probably gonna do is stick a piece of metal in here and then kind of weld it on this side. And if it tries to get pulled down, the other metal won't let it happen. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the gas now. I always make sure to turn off my bottle when I'm not using it, because I don't want to waste my money and have it leak out if there's a leak. Oh, pro tip, if you turn on your welder, it'll actually work better. I'm just gonna make like right here, I'm gonna keep piling up the weld so that I don't have to like stretch it across, because that'll put more tension on it. I'm just gonna pile it up here until it gets closer, and then I'll weld it together. Getting pretty close. There we go. Now it's tacked on both sides. That's probably good. I'm gonna mark where this is with a marker. Cross mark 2. You need usually 2 of them, so that's kind of like the general area. Maybe add another one here. The worst thing that could happen is, you know, you have too many marks and it looks bad, so might as well add more than you need. So luckily I just got this NutriBullet blender, and so I have some cardboard here that I can mess around with. Just gotta break the box down. Do it real quick. I actually went through about 2 blenders within 4 blender cycles, if that makes sense. Like, I tried to use my blender 4 times and I had to go through, I've used my blender 4 times and I had to go through 2 blenders to do that. So I'm on my 3rd blender now. I was trying to make hummus the first time, but the beans were kind of cold, and I overfilled it. So I guess that could be my fault, but the second time my second blender, it just stopped turning on one day. So, you know, hopefully this one lasts me at least 3 blends worth. I think I'll probably extend this out. Kinda gotta mess around with some stuff and trial and error, and you'll get something that you like at the end of the day. It just takes time. Everything just takes a lot of time. For example, like, what's the difference between you and a professional astronaut, or, you know, in my case, I work in IT, so what's the difference between me? You know, I'm kind of entry level, so, you know, what's the difference between me and someone that is like a high level, high paid IT person? Well, you know, mainly they know more, they're more professional, you know, supposedly, at least. They're, you know, but what it comes down to at the end of the day is they have spent more time doing the thing that you're doing. You could really be whatever you want if you... We have so many resources nowadays, you could really be whatever you want if you sort of put your mind to it. Now, I'm not saying it's necessarily easy to be motivated to do those things, but, you know, a professional, quote-unquote professional, they just have more experience, they've done it for longer. This is at 11. Let's just say -11. Pretty sure this one was leveled. Yeah, this is leveled. I think that if I make this 2-inch piece flat, then go down to this piece, it would look better than, you know, that. I don't need all this clearance in this void right here. And then I'm gonna extend this piece out like another probably inch. I have to go really slowly because the bypass is in its bump zone, and so it has to go slowly, or else it'll put too much stress on the mount and it'll break off the mount. Don't ask me how I know. So if I measure it from here, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you know, we're about at 8 and, you know, almost 9 inches. It doesn't have to be perfect, but so essentially this is an 18-inch stroke bypass. Cut that in half, you're at 9 inches. So the piston's gonna be about halfway in the shock, which is the most optimal position. Obviously in the real world it may be plus or minus, but you know, I don't have the exact springs on and spring rate and everything that I need to figure that out. So I'm gonna just estimate, you know, 50% stroke at right height. Now, if I look at here, this is, okay, this is perfect. So I'm probably going to keep this 11-degree slope on here. I'm probably going to incorporate the same slope onto this lower part, or this lower shock. That way everything matches. Alright guys, so it's another day. I have the day off of work today, so guess what I'm gonna be doing. Last time I worked on this thing, I created this piece right here, and it fits pretty good. And what I've been doing for the past few minutes is just making sure everything's aligned, both inwards and outwards, as well as back and forth. And I'm getting ready to go ahead and tack this back piece in. And once I do that, I will probably make another one. One that will actually be more adjusted to this, because the shocks aren't, it's not like perfectly 90 degrees to this tube right here. It's kind of like at an angle like that, if that makes sense. It's not like that, it's like that. So it kind of pushes this piece a little bit more back, further back than I would like. So once I get that tacked in, and then I can create another cardboard template for this, and then things will be moving along pretty good. Another thing that I might change on this design is how this piece is kind of cut right here. I might just have it extend all the way out to here and then go up, so that it kind of looks a little bit stronger. I'm sure this would be fine, but I want to make sure that it will be 100%. And right now I'm really wishing that I had a plasma table, because I really don't feel like cutting 4 more of these out. But realistically, it's not the worst thing in the world. I should have plenty of metal, and it'll just take a while to do, I guess, because that air compressor is not as big as it should be for running this plasma cutter. So every time I make one cut, I have to wait for it to charge back up. So that kind of sucks too, but I'm sure I could get it done. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and tack that and catch back up later. Alright, so I plasma cut this piece out, and this is probably going to be the final revision of this part. So I added a little bit more bracing here, and then up here I added about 1/4 inch or so of material. That way when I weld the top piece together on the other side, it will go over the shock. If I were to do it at this height, it would just hit the top of the shock. And then right here, I made this come out a little bit more to get a little bit more meat on this piece. I may end up knocking this this edge right here a little bit down, because I'm not sure if the shock will hit it or not. But yeah, I'm gonna cut out 3 more of these pieces, and I'll have my shock mounts finally ready to be mounted up, which has been in the works for a long time now. Alright, so here's the truck. I jacked it up, and then I tacked both sides on here, and I'm just cycling it a bit. You can see that this piece is kind of leveled out a little bit, but there's not a great way for me to do this. I might try to just have it sit on the jacks and then cycle the axle to see its sort of side to side movement. I have a feeling it's not going to move too much either, so yeah, but it's always nice to see it. It's always nice to cycle it and see what it looks like.